On a farm somewhere in the Portuguese countryside, an old barn is sealed shut, allowing its incredible contents to simply gather dust. So when the doors were finally pried open, a piece of history was revealed to the world for the first time in years. The story began in 2007, when news of an amazing incident began to spread across the internet. It was the tale of a man from New York who had retired to Portugal and happened upon an unbelievable discovery after he arrived there. According to several websites, the unnamed man decided to spend his retirement fund on a house and some land in the European country. Consequently, he was apparently drawn to a farmhouse that was offered at a knockdown price. Seemingly, the farm was going cheap because the doors to the large barn had been welded shut. However, undeterred, the American made an offer on the property and snapped it up for a little over half off its market value. Once he'd settled into his new home, the story goes, he naturally set about investigating the sealed barn. In fact, with the help of his wife, he cut through the doors to reveal something astonishing hidden within. There, the man discovered, it's claimed, a huge collection of classic cars, all covered in a thick layer of dust. He then apparently snapped some photos of the amazing find and posted them online for all to see. The collection itself is certainly for real, and it's a very impressive assembly. Indeed, some guess that as many as 180 vintage vehicles had been hidden away behind these closed doors, though estimates varied on the actual amount. Among them, in any case, were some of the most sought-after classic cars on Earth. For instance, vehicles from famous manufacturers such as Aston Martin, Lotus, and Mercedes sat side by side with dozens of sedans from America. One Chrysler Roadster, meanwhile, appeared to date from as far back as 1931. There were even a brace of old Formula race cars thrown into the mix. The value of the collection was estimated to be in the region of several $1,000,000. However, no sooner had the pictures of the cars appeared online than experts began to cast doubt on the authenticity of the story. Tom Cotter, a writer and classic car enthusiast, specializes in what's known as barn finds. This is the term given to valuable items that have been hidden away and forgotten about, only to be rediscovered years later by some lucky treasure hunter. But for Cotter, the Portugal find appeared just too good to be true. Nobody would simply sell an old farm and fail to mention to the new owners the stash of old cars in the barn, he wrote in an article for Sports Car Market. However, as much as he doubted the story behind the discovery of the cars, the photographs appeared to show a genuine collection. So intrigued, Cotter set out to uncover the truth. First, he trawled the web to try to find out more about the collection's mysterious origins. Then, later convinced that the automobiles were indeed located in Portugal, the enthusiast cum detective hired a Portuguese translator to continue his research in the local media. Cotter left no stone unturned in his quest to track down what he acknowledged could be the discovery of a lifetime. In fact, he even considered catching a plane to Portugal from the United States to see if he could locate the collection. Finally, though, he managed to get in touch with the man responsible for the images that had taken the internet by storm, and the photographer had quite a different story to tell. Indeed, snapper Manuel Menezes Murray said that he'd been contracted by the collection's owner to document the vehicles stored in the barn. But rather than the owner being an American retiree who had struck gold, he was a former car dealer who had been in the business throughout the 1970s and 1980s. According to Murray, the dealer had a habit of keeping some of the more interesting vehicles for himself. Consequently, his barn began to fill up with classic cars, and when it was full, he locked it and soldered the door shut. Murray claimed that the owner had sworn him to secrecy over the collection's exact location. However, he was able to reveal that it was somewhere near Sintra, a Portuguese town close to the capital, Lisbon. The photographer also went on to confirm that the collection comprised some 180 vehicles, and that, much to Cotter's disappointment, none of the cars were for sale. The owner, meanwhile, remained elusive, although Cotter was able to question him by communication via Murray. I asked Murray if he could ask the owner if he had a favorite car, he wrote. Murray responded, "He has lots of cars in very good condition," he says, "but he loves the Lancia Relia B24. He has two." Cotter finished his article with an appeal for any European-based readers to pick up the thread where he left off. But as of July 2016, no update had been issued on the mysterious barn and its incredible contents. So for now, at least, it seems as if the collection is destined to remain behind closed doors.